Hello and welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. So I'm in my office. As you can tell, we have done a huge change here. Well, it's probably not that huge, but to me it feels like it's a huge change because I have now about half the size desk that I had before and just been able to move things around. Hubby painted it. The color is called Inspired. The color number is AF whatever. So when I read the back of the color card, it looked like it was inspired as fuck, which I thought, hello, that is the best color for my office. However, it's not that, but in my world it is, and I just so love it. And I will be doing videos at other angles so you guys can see more. We just don't have everything hung up yet. So yeah. So here we are, and one of my favorite things, I'm not sure that you can read it, it says caution, rock star at work. How does it get any better than that? My friend Shauna from Saskatchewan gave it to me years and years ago, and I still love it. And then of course, one of my mugs. You can't really see it that well either from this distance, but it says cunt of corn, because yes, some days. All right, what I want to talk about today is contribution. Are you willing to be it for you? Yeah. So in the book Divorceless Relationships by Gary Douglas and Dane here from Access Consciousness, now we'll have a link up to this program. It's finished. However, you can still go purchase it, and I'm going to encourage you to do so because it was so phenomenal. It's a book club. I've been doing a monthly book club this year in 2021, and it is just, that book is, it just is, it's freaking amazing. So for 5 Zooms, we went through 6 chapters each Zoom. Oh my gosh. Anyway, this week's was about contribution, and I just want to read to you. So I've got the Kindle up on my big computer here, and it says, contribution is the willingness to be with someone and receive everything they are without requiring anything of them. Yeah. Contribution is the willingness to be with someone and receive everything they are without requiring anything of them. So let's say you're married, you wouldn't require your spouse to breathe differently. There's so many funny jokes out there about, usually it's wives telling their husbands to stop breathing that way. And so it's just funny. But often we do this to people that we're with. We tell them how to be different, which is not contributing to them at all. If we have a problem with what they're doing, then we need to look at that for ourselves. So contribution is really being present with someone with no judgment, just being there. Now, here's the thing that I really wanted to share in this radio show, because it really blew my mind. I have not heard it asked this way, or if I did, I've forgotten it. Shocking. And so the question is, and this is one you might want to write down, my sweet friends, what contribution can I be to my life today? Yeah, so I actually have that as a reminder app on my phone, and every 3 hours it reminds me to ask that question. Because I just, the moment I read that, it was like, whew, there was so much yumminess in that. And get the sense of that. What are we doing? Remember, contribution is the willingness to be with someone, receive everything, and not expect them to be different. Imagine if you were willing to be that for you and your life. That means there's no judgment of you. There's no judgment of the choices you've made. There's none of that. If you're going to contribute to your life, what contribution can you be to your life today? Yeah. So what contribution can you be to your life today? Yeah. What contribution can you be to your life today? Now, normally wouldn't kind of run it like that, and you can. it might be required at times, I just have found it offers so much space. Now, you can run the Access Consciousness clearing statement after it. You can, of course, say anything that doesn't allow me to be the contribution to my life, I destroy and uncreate it all, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And how I usually gauge whether I require to run the clearing statement after an expansive question like that is if I contract or if I expand. So if when I ask what contribution can I be to my life today, and it's like that yummy energy for me, I don't usually run the clearing statement. But if I ask it and then I go into, well, I can't be and I'm not good enough and I don't know how, or, you know, all that crazy, or it just energetically feels icky, that's when you'd want to run the clearing statement. At least that's how I do it. So find a way that works for you, but I'm going to suggest you run that a lot. Like, again, just get the energy of what your life and living would be like if you received everything about you with no expectation, no projection, no judgment of what you've chosen in the past or the future or whatever. Like, what if you were willing to contribute to you? Yeah, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, years and years ago, when I first started studying Access, back in 2011, it was probably May, let's say 2013, I actually had a session with Simone Milasas. Anyway, and her and I talked about contribution. And I remember having such a bizarre reaction to the question she was asking. And I don't recall exactly what I was asking when I went into the session. It was probably something about business and such. And it was so bizarre how when she talked about contribution, I had all of these energies of like, well, I can't do it and I can't be it. I can only be it for others. So it wasn't actually contribution. What I was looking at, or what I had energetically picked up somewhere along the way or just chosen, was that contribution was doing for others. Basically taking care of others. Guys, that's not contribution. Just so you know, a little FYI. So anywhere that you've misidentified or misapplied contribution, will you destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Because here's the thing. Contribution isn't necessarily about doing. Now, you might do something. There might be a doing aspect at some point, you know, to contribute to the business and this office space. It did take doing some things, cleaning things out, painting walls, etc. So there's that. And sometimes it's not. So when I was operating from the energy of contribution is doing for others, taking care of others, it is a very one-way street, which means I can't receive from what I do or be or any of that. It's just that one way. I've just got to basically give and give and give and give, and there's no receiving. Yeah. So in my experience, when we give and we give and we give and we don't receive, it ends up in, there's various ways, but for myself, what I chose a lot of was that kind of that martyr, like, do you know what I've done for you? Do you know how hard I've worked? Do you know, like that sort of an energy? Or there's a lot of resentment that I would choose because the person didn't do whatever. And so if you look at that for yourself, you want to be just really aware of that with giving and taking. And what if your natural state is gifting and receiving? Yeah. So gifting and receiving is, to me, the energy of contribution, because we don't know who the gifter is and who the receiver is. If you've ever given a gift to somebody who just loved it so much, like they were just over the top grateful for the gift, who gifted who? Because you're gifting them the thing, and them receiving it, that actually gifts to you. And so there's gifting and receiving both ways. And that ultimately is what is our natural state. So what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can you and your body be to be the infinite gifting and receiving that you truly be? Anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And here's the thing. You can still choose gifting and receiving if the other person is operating from giving and taking. That to me blew my mind when I heard that originally a few years ago, because I kind of thought it was like I had to do whatever the other person was doing, but you don't. This is the really cool thing. You get to choose for you, and they get to choose for them. So they may not really receive, they may just take. That's okay, that's their choice. Your choice is to be the gifting and receiving you truly be. Your choice could be to be the contribution that you truly be, no matter what people around you choose with regards to that. Meaning, if somebody receives the contribution you be or not. What if you didn't need anybody to acknowledge the magic that you be, the gift that you be? Yeah. And if you have people in your life that you would just really love to hear a thank you once in a while, or you'd really love them to tell you that you've done a great job or something like that, what you want to look at is, are you actually doing the giving and taking with them? Because chances are, if you've got that crazy going on with it, you are doing it from the energy of give and take. Which, honestly, that's what we're taught. We're not really taught to gift and receive. In fact, I think, oh gosh, I'm not really that familiar with the Bible, but I think it's a Bible quote that says, it's better to give than to receive. Is it? Because if you're giving and you're not receiving when you're giving, then it's just give and take, which is a very limited way for us to be on the planet. Yeah, so everything that brings up, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And truly, what else would be possible if you are willing to gift and receive with everyone and everything, including you? Anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Which takes me back to that very first question. What contribution can you be to your life today? Yeah. So anything that doesn't allow you to be that contribution, will you destroy and uncreate it all times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah, and I'm going to say it again, and I know I keep giving the definition, guys. There's a reason for this. So contribution is the willingness to be with someone and receive everything they are without requiring anything of them. The reason that I keep reading that is for me, and also it really is backwards to what we are taught here in this reality. We're taught to constantly tell people how they need to be better, especially if we care for them. Like if they're our spouses or our kids or our parents, even depending on how old we are, that's when it's our job. Like we need to let people know that how they could be better. That's not kind, and that is not being a contribution. Yeah. Some of you probably got an email from me, oh gosh, I don't know, 2 months ago maybe, or something. And I shared a story of how when hubby and I were out in Ontario in October of last year, 2020, we spent some time with my sweet friend Crystal, and her and I did some classes together, and it was amazing. And she asked us, when we were out to dinner one night, she asked us what kind of the greatest gift the other person is to us. And when hubby said his, my eyes leaked, I'll be honest, because what he said was that he I don't make him wrong. I don't judge him for, I can't remember what he called, but basically for his inadequacies, I don't judge him. And it made me cry because there was a time I did. In fact, there was a time that's all I did. That was my job as a wife from my bizarre point of view, was to let him know how to be better. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, putt, puck, shorts, boys, beyonds. And so it was such a gift to me to hear him say that, because I have spent the last 10 years, using these tools. Truly, it wasn't until I started playing with the tools from Access Consciousness that I really got how judgmental I was and how much I thought that was normal. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so hearing him say that and him even recognizing it. Now, he never said like she used to be, but it was certainly like that. I know that I was like that. I know that's what I did. And I look at how much more we, both me to him and him to me, contribute to each other with that no expectation of the other person being different. And even if he does, we were hanging some pictures earlier, and there was this kind of projection of I should have had something done before he started, whatever. And even in that, I didn't go to he was wrong. And that is huge, because often I would match the wrongness with more wrongness, so if he delivered me the energy or said something that made me feel wrong, or that he felt I was wrong, then there would also be that, well, and you're wrong this way, or you're wrong to say that, or it wasn't even in my world. It wasn't actually until right now, as I'm talking about this, that I realized it was just, okay, I was aware of it. And I was aware it didn't work for me in that sense. So I did I took action with that, but I didn't need to make him wrong for it. And that is huge. That is just huge. And so what I'm looking at now, after going through this chapter in yesterday in the book club, is really looking at how can I be that for me? I am way more that for me now. And how can I be that even more for me? Truly, what else is possible that I've never even considered being the contribution for me too? So everyone else too, I'm not changing that. And in my receiving of it, more so, I wonder how much it'll even be, that I'll even be it more for other people. I wonder truly what else is possible. Now, one thing that I know with change like this, or choosing something different, is the gift it can be to really acknowledge when you do be it. So one of the questions that I will ask throughout the day, just kind of whenever it's in my world, or if it's something that I know I'll forget, I add it to my reminder app. It's just a free reminder app. I've got an iPhone. It comes with the phone. I use it for frickin' everything. Anyway, it's, just that universe, show me where I'm contributing to my life, so that I can start acknowledging when I be it, and then I can also choose to be it more. So universe, show me. That is a question that I'm often asking, because again, when we have something we'd like to change, it's usually that we've realized it isn't working, or that we're stressed about it, or we're frustrated with it, or whatever. So where it's like, okay, it's time to change this. But then we put all of our energy into the problem rather than acknowledging, okay, you know what? 10% of the time I'm already being it, or 20%, or when I'm with this person I be it, or when I'm doing this I be it, or whatever. So we can actually start acknowledging, yes, that's not proper English, and it matches the energy of the word. We can start acknowledging when we're being it, which just contributes so much more. Yeah. So what contribution can you be to your life today? Which means no judgment, no expectations to be different, no wrongness. If you were just to, watch Netflix all day long, would you be willing to receive all of that rather than the judgment of, oh, I should be more productive, I'm wasting time, I'm, whatever insanity might usually go on. And I'm just using Netflix as an example. Maybe your thing is to do puzzles or something, like whatever it is. But what if all of it contributes? And what if you can receive from everything? I've often talked about with my nursing background. So I'm a psychiatric nurse. I took the training 100 years ago, and I worked at it for many years in different capacities. And when I started my business in 2002, yes, it has been that long, 19 years, I really, really struggled with the energy of not having finished, or not, like, I took I don't remember how many years I went to school for that. I think it was 2 or 3. I don't recall now. I took all that time. I took all that money. In fact, when I started my business, I wasn't even finished paying off my student loan yet. So I had, all this insanity of I need to do that, and then, or I'm wrong to not be a psychiatric nurse anymore. So then I had all this separation, which meant all the gifts that I received in my training, which there's a lot that crosses over into my classes and personal sessions and such, of course. So there's all of this that now that I'm willing to receive from everything I've chosen in the past, and willing to receive more and more from it every day, that can contribute to me now. But all the while I was judging that I shouldn't have quit, or that I shouldn't have taken it because I just quit it, or like all of that insanity. All that did was ensure that I couldn't receive the contribution from it. So everything you're judging yourself for, to ensure that you never acknowledge and receive the contribution of it to your current life and living, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And just know, guys, anything or anyone you are judging, you are not receiving from. So if there's a big snowstorm here in Canada and you go into the wrongness of it and how stupid it is and how horrible it is and it shouldn't do this, you're not receiving from it, which means you've shut off your awareness, which means if you shouldn't drive to town, or if you should drive to town, or whatever the awareness that you could have in that moment, you wouldn't have it because you're so separate from it, because you've put on what I call the blinders of the judgment. So imagine if you look at your life, if you look at all the people in your life, you look at all the things you do, all of it, how much are you separate from, and how much are you not receiving the awareness of from that judgment of that person should be different, that situation should be different. Like even with, say, COVID, so the time of recording, we're still in a fair amount of lockdown here in Canada. And so if I'm in the judgment of it and I make it wrong and it's stupid and it's bad, and don't you know it's killing businesses, and don't you know it's killing relationships, or like whatever all that insanity is. And I call it insanity because it's stopping you from being aware, which means all the time you're playing in that, you're not looking at what else is possible, which means if you have a business and you've decided that the COVID rules and guidelines and all of that are the worst thing for the business, guess what? You got it. You are going to create that. Your business, you're going to prove yourself right. Yeah, and there's been a lot of businesses that have done that. And there's been a lot of businesses that went, okay, what else is possible? What can I create? How can I shift this? How can I go around this? There are people who, have created such magic in their business because they didn't stop. They didn't go, oh, well, this is horrible and I can't do anything. They went, okay. And they might have had those moments. I know last March, I had those moments too. And it lasted for a few days. And then I went, wait a minute. And it was actually doing the Advanced How to Become Money workbook. And there was a question in there. And I was like, wait a minute. And it was something about like, how am I being a pathetic pile of shit or something? I don't even recall the question now, but I've done other radio shows on it, and we'll put a link to one of them so that you can catch them. And so it's just so funny because as soon as I was in that and asking that, I realized, oh my God, I'm just being a victim here. Okay, what else? What can I create? And bing, bang, boom. And I had better months, financially than I'd had in a while, because it really inspired me to look beyond what I was being told, which is, we couldn't do this and we couldn't do this and we couldn't travel. And a big part of my business at the time was travel and all the things. It's like, okay, and now what? What else is possible I've never even considered? Now add, what contribution can I be to my life today? Oh, there's so much magic to be created, my sweet friends. Like truly, what else is possible that we've never even considered? And I know sometimes it can feel so impossible, or maybe you've tried the tool for a little bit and it didn't change anything and you're frustrated. I'm gonna tell you, just don't stop. Just don't stop. It never shows up the way you think it will. Never shows up the way you think it will. There's always going to be different. And so a lot of times we're so stuck in, well, I used that tool to change this one thing and it didn't change the way I decided it should, so it didn't work. No. Continue to use the tool and clear your points of views of what you think it should turn out like. And the way that I do that, all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations, projections, rejections, expectations, separations that I have about blank, I destroy and uncreate them all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, putt, putt, shorts, boys, and meons. And I made a fun acronym, all the DJCC's pissers. I destroy and uncreate them all. And that is a brilliant clearing to use all day, every day about everything in your life that's not going the way you would like it to, because I promise you, if it is going in, if you're using the tools, things are changing as if by magic, but it might be that they're changing in a way that you didn't recognize, and until you acknowledge it, then it doesn't, you're not even aware of it because you're so stuck in that one spot. So yeah, awesome guys. Well, come and play. I've got so many classes and book clubs and all sorts of awesomeness coming up, still pretty much just online. And of course, we've got some things in the work in the future here at this beautiful acreage of ours. In July, we've got the pool party, bars and foundation, as long as, of course, with the COVID guidelines and such, we can have it in person. But that's in the works. And in April in Strathmore, we also have bars and foundation. So again, as long as the guidelines are open, come and play, and otherwise come and play online. I would love to see you. Have a great rest of your week, guys. I look forward to chatting again next week.